What's up, everyone? You know what night it is? Wednesday night, off-centered with Dustin, the artist formerly known as the Personal Finance Dad. 300 of you know him as Retro Game Dad, and the rest of us now know him as Sports Card Dad. And tonight, we hope it's going to be a great episode because we're supposed to have Mike Geo from Sports Cards Nonsense on to talk about his new business venture. He hasn't joined us yet, so we will see if that is going to happen or not. And if it doesn't happen, then it'll just be us and you. So it'll be good quality time. Anyway, we're going to have fun regardless. Thanks for joining us. And y'all already know the drill. Welcome back. Now let's get to work. Let's bring on perhaps the only guest of the night, Dustin.
Cheers. How are we doing?
I guess we're good, man. It might just be you and me. Who knows?
You know, we'll just do these like fake, like we have fake guests. Like tonight it's Bill Gates. Oh, he didn't make it. Whoops.
Sorry guys, it's clickbait. We just wanted to make sure that you guys would tune in at first, and hopefully we'll be entertaining enough for you guys to stay here. But let's say hi to some people in the chat. Mike C, always here, always first, and then there's always Troy as well. Great to see you. Go Suns, I guess. Hey, Brian, go Bucks. The Bucks will be playing in Germany this season. There's a game now in Germany. I think it's November 17th or something like that. So I'm really excited for that. AJ over in Japan. Great to see you. Awesome to see you as well. Corey, we got Ryan in the house. We got all of our usuals. Philly Joe, who has joined me on Card Life. And I'm really proud that Joe joined me on the last week's Zoom because I know it wasn't.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, so it's cool to see him in person. Jeff Walsh, what is up, my man? Good to see you as well.
You skipped right over Ryan McClanahan, who said he's sick again. Like you're like, I'm hard up with the flu. Hey, Ryan, all right, bye.
I'm reading your name. Isn't that good enough? I don't have the patience. I can't multitask all these ways to actually read what you're saying. So it's always just name and avatar.
I've noticed too, Ryan is working his way into like the male modeling stuff. Every time the profile picture is.
Uh-oh. Did you freeze, Dustin, or was that me? Uh-oh. Good to see you, Dominic. If you can hear me. I don't know if Dustin's frozen or if I'm frozen, but good to see you, Michael Ham, as well. Appreciate it. Pick for profit. And AJ, remember when Mike was on last time, I was looking through rose-colored glasses. That CSG wouldn't change their label. Yes, they changed it. And who's frozen? Dustin's frozen. Thank you. I thought it was me because it's always my internet. I got to record this. Hold on a second. I don't think he's going to believe me, but I got to record Dustin being frozen. Take a look at this. Oh, there. He's off. He's off. So one guest hasn't shown up yet. The other guest's internet has just frozen. So I have no idea what's going on. Here it is. I think we should make a second NFT based on Dustin's frozen face. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so it's kind of weird that it's just you and me, but we have NBA playoffs going on. We have NHL playoffs, which is something that I'm more interested in. I did go to what's that show? The Union Marketplace. So if you didn't see my last video, I went to Union Marketplace with my friend who looks a lot like Aaron Rodgers, and he had a great time checking out cards for the first time. A lot of people were asking me, did he pick up anything? Did I pick up anything? And the only thing, yeah, dude, seriously, he will be, Michael, I'm pretty much, I haven't been solo in like 6 months, so this is kind of weird. But the one card that really stuck out, hey, look who's joining me.
I'm like, it can't be my internet. My internet is, I'm on fiber, but I guess it was mine.
You know what's interesting about that? What's interesting is that even though you were frozen to me and everything was working on my end, I was still convinced that it was my internet. I was still convinced, like, no, it's definitely mine. It's definitely mine. And then everyone in the chat's like, Dustin froze. I thought you were making a Dustin meme, so now we have a second one. Just freezing around. So anyway, we will talk about this issue here, Jeff. Is Dustin frozen again? Oh my God, Dustin's frozen again. This is insane. Someone please I'm just going to have to screenshot this. This is going to have to be NFT number 2. There we go. Yeah, Troy, if you saw at the very end, my friend Trevor basically shouted out sports card investor instead of mine. So that hurt a little bit, but it is what it is. But the one card that actually interested me at that show was a Mila Kunis card. It was a mini Mila Kunis card. And if there was a takeaway that Trevor had as well as myself, is that there was a lot of junk slabs. There was a lot of middle tier cards. There weren't a lot of the really high end. There were some, but if you had something different, it stood out. And that Mila Kunis card, I was like, oh my God, Mila Kunis back in, I think, 2005, 2006. That stuck out to me. I didn't end up buying it, but I did go on eBay and bought the same card for $7. So I like that. We'll see if Dustin and our other guest, Mike, will be able to join us. If not, we'll see if the improv classes will pay off. Okay, Jeff, your thoughts on the whole PSA trimming issue, the fact that it got past the eBay. I mean, that is scary. Like it is scary, but I would also say that because eBay verification is new, I would give them a bit more of a pass, just because you're going to have to be a really good scammer to be able to get past. And I think no matter what, no matter what safe you build, no matter what, whatever security system you have, the best scammers, the best thieves, the best whatever will always be able to outmaneuver it. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of the scammers, the trimmers, whatever, are former graders. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all, just because that they have the knowledge of what they look for and what they don't. But it's good that they got caught. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can go to Card Porn's Instagram account. In fact, let me see if I can pull it up, because I'm not sure the guy's name exactly. Let me see here. But it was quite thorough what Card Porn did in terms of catching him. And let's see here. So I'm going to share the screen so you guys can see it. We'll give this a shot. Hey, how nice of you to join us.
I just moved downstairs, so I don't know if that'll make a difference or not. I've never had internet issues before, so I don't get it.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a bit strange. And I do have some screenshots of you, so we could easily put that on a t-shirt and resell it, maybe at the National. But I was talking about this from Jeff Walsh, who brought it up. And what's your take on this? Because I pretty much shared a little bit of my take, but anything that stood out to you?
Well, I think the big thing is just that they're in PSA 10 slabs. If we're talking about the Kong, are we talking about the Trey Lance?
Which one is it? It's this one, right? Yeah.
Those look like soccer cards, though. I thought there was Trey Lance and what is it? Trevor Lawrence rookie cards that were literally like yet less than a year old. These cards.
Is it this?
They were trimmed.
Every second that you don't say anything, I'm thinking your internet froze because I can't see you. I'm looking at this screen. So I really need you to talk, or at least like make a ticking sound or something.
Yeah, I mean, apparently these guys were trimming like brand new cards. These are like 2021, 2022. And I'm sure probably if you're a grading company, you're not expecting that. And so that's probably why it worked. It's like, how did this make it into a PSA 10 slab? Well, probably because they're thinking like, there's no way this is going to be trimmed. Like, who would trim this?
I wonder if the sheer volume of cards also makes it a lot easier to not pay attention as much, just because if you have so many cards, then you're like, what are the odds that this is going to get trimmed? We need to get through our quota of whatever, 10,000 cards today or 20,000 cards today. It's like, if it's not worth a couple thousand or more, are you really paying as close attention? I mean, you should hypothetically, but realistically let's just say it's a $30 card. Are you really going to pay that close of attention?
Well, and think about it too. Like if you're looking at a Walter Payton 76 Topps rookie card, you've seen that card a bunch of times. So kind of an idea of dimensions and everything else. You don't know what you haven't looked at a bunch of 2021 Don Russ autos or whatever the hell it was, so, I mean, I'm not necessarily, defending it, but it's like, of course that, this stuff is going to slip through the cracks, whether it's PSA or whatever. I mean, I saw an interview with Peter came on from SGC, And they asked him about it, and he was basically like, look, like that's the kind of thing that could happen to any company. It just happened to go, it just happened to be PSA for those particular cards. But I think though, even though all of that being said, it's still worrisome, because you think about it, it's like really anything, there's nothing that's off limits. Like people are going to try anything now, so that's going to be an interesting struggle. I think it's going to be a huge challenge for grading companies.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, now you're adding an extra hurdle for them, and everything hurts credibility when this goes through. I don't know if PSA, based on their sheer size, like what the something like this, does it hurt PSA's reputation? Like slightly, but I mean, there's so many cards in their slabs, and there's so many business deals and all this. It's like, what could actually dethrone PSA with the amount that they have out in existence and the amount that they will pump out? I mean, it's not like people could say, I'd like to get my cards back, correct? It's not like you could say, well, I'd like my 2,000 cards back and send it somewhere else, even though it's been sitting there for 2 months. So I think that part of it's just, it's going to have to be bigger than that. Other note, any word on Mike? Is he going to be coming tonight? Is he going to
I am not. So here's the thing, guys, and just for chat, I mean, Mike's company launched today. He has a new company, Card Shop Live, that launched today. And so, yes, he said that he could go on, but at the same time, he might have been running into all sorts of stuff with that. Who knows? I mean, if he was launching any other day, then it probably wouldn't be an issue. But I'm assuming that's probably it. It's probably part of what it is. He's just getting pulled into meetings or whatever. But who knows? I haven't heard from him yet. So we'll see.
Hopefully he's okay. First and foremost, hopefully it's okay. If this is a prank, you got us. You got us.
He sent me a message like, "Why would I come on, you idiots?" Oh, that's awkward.
So here's the thing: sarcasm is really hard to detect via text. So I don't know if you didn't get the sarcasm that yes, he would be on. It was just a sarcastic tone. But hey, you know what? If he can't come on tonight, then he'll come on another time. Let's take a look at.
Yeah, no, he got the link. He confirmed he got the link and everything. He said, I mean, I'm sure he'll reach out.
Okay. You owe us, Mike. You owe us. You owe these people. Now we have to be funny for him, and that's going to be tough.
Yeah, he said, I was going back through it. Go ahead and get a picture for the thumbnail. He was kind of like, what the hell? And I was like, I know. And then I said, if you plan on sending nudes, just send those directly to Brad. And that's kind of
that would explain all the nudes I got. It looked like Mike. I was like, no, it looks kind of like Mike, but I don't know.
With the head cut off.
Absolutely. Oh, all right. See, this is something that interests me right here. I saw the Bolts were up 2-0, so now they're up 3-1. That's good. What's your take on the playoffs? What are you seeing that you're liking out of the NBA playoffs?
Well, I like the fact that LeBron James is not playing in the playoffs. I know all the LeBron people will be like, oh, whatever. You can't say that. I like the fact that Kevin Durant and LeBron are not being talked about, because I'm ready for the new crop. I'm ready for the new guys to come in. I like the fact that Giannis won it last year. Now you've got, I mean, honestly, like that Wolves Grizzlies first round series was a war. I mean, a lot of those games came down to a point, 2 points, couple buckets. It's funny because the Timberwolves always get hell for being so terrible. They could very easily have advanced if just a few things went their way. They've got a lot of young talent. So the NBA is kind of fun to watch now for me, like now that we're kind of in the playoffs. Regular season's kind of like blah because half the guys sit out. I feel like the young guys are the only guys that get in there and play. All the vets are like, I'll just take half the season off and then I'll show up at the end. It's like, that's why I don't want to see them. I don't want to see Russell Westbrook. I want to see some of these young guys, so Suns, that Suns Mavs, series is awesome. And then Celtics Bucks is also awesome. So yeah, I mean, it's cool. Have you been watching it at all?
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, not a single game. I've seen some highlights. I've seen some highlights, which is cool. But honestly, I'm a team guy. Orlando Magic is my team, and until they're relevant, I'm probably not going to watch basketball, because when it was 2020 and we had nothing and basketball cards were huge and there was all this conversation, it was a lot more interesting. But unless I'm going in on investing in players, NBA players, I don't really care so much about the NBA until my team returns. Right now, Buccaneers and Lightning, I have my hands full. And when they suck again, which I'm sure will happen in another couple of years, then I don't know. Maybe the Magic will be relevant. But for now, it's just too many games, and it's not that interesting during the season. And now it's all that matters. And so, yeah, not really. But I will say, playoff hockey, I think, is the best sport of all the sports for hockey game or for playoff games, because the hitting is intense, it's ruthless, it comes down to the wire, but it's so physical that it's insane that these guys can go an entire playoffs and win a Stanley Cup or make it to the Stanley Cup, because they've got to be destroyed physically.
Yeah, answering Brett S's question there at 9:14. Yeah. Dustin, do you follow the Canes? I was actually really spoiled. I was down in Florida. I went to a lot of Lightning games, and playoff hockey. It's funny because I'm not a big hockey guy. I don't have any hockey cards, none of that. But man, when you go to playoff hockey games, it's a good time, because it's rowdy. And the Lightning have a really cool, stadium. They got the lightning that goes off at the top of the stadium and stuff. I've never been to a Hurricanes game, but it's on the bucket list, so I want to do that. I need to get to a Canes game.
I will say, for a city that should not care about hockey at all, Tampa does it right. And part of it goes to the ownership. Actually, a lot of it goes to the ownership, but they make it a hockey town in spite of no one there playing hockey or able to play hockey. There are a lot of snowbirds, which means, they're familiar with hockey. They might be fans of the Rangers or whatever else, or, Canadian teams, but they do a great job. And that's why I'm like, hey, you don't have to have played it to care about it. I've never played hockey once in my life, but I think that's amazing.
Yeah, if you're a competitive person, you just like competitive sports. I mean, hockey is one of those that, it's action packed, it's fast paced. I love it.
Gotcha. I have a question for you. So I went to the card show and ran into Carvin Chung. He used to work for Upper Deck, and he is the creator of Exquisite. Have you seen his new line, Infinity Cards?
I have not seen it. Is that out yet, or is he working on it?
I don't know if it's out yet. Let me share my screen, because I'd like to get your take in the chat, just because this is non-sports cards, and to me this is right up my alley. This is exactly what I've been waiting for, and that's what makes it hard to buy. Like, look, when I went to the show, I'm like, okay, great. There's 5,000 Justin Herberts. There's 5,000 Trae Youngs. There's all of this, and that's why when one card stuck out, like that Mila Kunis, which I mentioned when you were frozen in time, I said, this is the one card that stands out. I've watched more hours of Mila Kunis in that 70s show and all these movies than most of these athletes. And she was great. And that 70s show is one of my favorite shows. I'd much rather get a card of her. If I can get her autograph from 1999 or 2000 or something early on, to me, that'd be worth way more mental or like emotionally than most of these cards. But this is what Carvin is creating, and to me this is exciting just because I see a lot of future or a lot of potential in the future of this.
Is this something that's separate from like an Upper Deck or a Fanatics? Is this his own thing, or is it?
Yeah. So this is based on the Weeknd's Blinding Lights. So it's just based on that song and that music video, and it's a thick card and it's a set. But I saw it and I was like, dude, this is pretty cool, because if you can get this, and a couple of them were autographed, if you can get this of other celebrities, other actors, musicians, if this could be based on a movie, as in Step Brothers, if there was a Step Brothers set, to me, like that would be my grail, right?
So it's kind of interesting that you're bringing this up, because it's almost like a race. I mean, if you have like companies like Infinity or Fanatics has got Zero Cool, Zero Cool obviously is out there trying to make these deals like this right here. They're trying to make these deals with these artists or with whoever, celebrities. But it sounds to me like there are other companies like this one that are going to compete with them for that business.
Well, either that, or what I would not be surprised about is looking at these designs, which I think the designs are way better than a lot of the celebrity cards I've seen, is just to hire Carvin and say, all right, let's just merge or do a deal with Infinity and we'll supply all the artists and the celebrities. We want you to create cards like this, and you have the experience and
Speaking
all
of
that.
hockey, sorry, just going back to hockey. Blades of Steel, an all-time NES game on the original Nintendo. All right, go back to it.
Okay. Well, now I exited out, so come on.
Yeah. No, I love that though. I like all the it's ingenuity, it's new stuff. I like it.
There's so much potential, but that's also why I don't care to go to cards that I don't care about. So I'm not like, the only basketball cards I actually like are the ones from my childhood, or if it's a nice Penny Hardaway or Shaquille O'Neal card from when he played with the Magic. But besides that, I'm like, okay, that's great. There's a lot of potential in people I follow and like now, but those cards don't exist. Or I'll show you what I just bought. It was 1995 Panini stickers. I don't know if you know of, Smash Hits. Do you know these cards?
I think so.
Flipping Steve knows about them and got these cards. So hold on. I'm going to try and pull some of these up. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to pull this up. But this is the kind of stuff that I go, this is going to be huge. This type of stuff is going to be huge in a couple years, because, when you have a Snoop Dogg card like this, I'm like, who does not want to buy a Snoop Dogg card from 1995?
That's funny. I have that card.
No, do you really?
I think I have that exact same card. I have the same picture on a card. I got it from Yamwax at the National. Yamwax gave me a stack of cards, and there was a Snoop Dogg card that looks exactly like that in there. Interesting. So I love that. Obviously, the Nirvana hits home because that's nostalgic.
And you have Dave Grohl, who's lead singer of Foo Fighters. But to me, the card itself is quite plain. But bands like this, people like this, I think is way more, I guess, easy to buy or easy to collect when you've grown up with their songs. You could play the songs. You could play Nirvana until the day you die. You know what I mean? Like, you could put on a song and be like, oh, yeah, that takes me back.
I probably will, frankly.
Yeah. And I would do the same with Foo Fighters. Anyway, great to see you, Judson. Judson from Santa Monica. That's where I met him in person.
There were some questions in the chat. I don't know if you've already passed them, or let me see if I can find it.
Yes.
Thoughts on the Eagles signing A.J. Brown, fourth highest paid wide receiver, Troy? So it's kind of funny. I think that the obvious reason why that happened, and I saw the picture of Titans coach, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he was baffled, or he was not happy about that in the draft room. But AJ Brown, all these receivers are now getting $25 million a year. They're getting these massive contracts. And so it seems to me like a lot of these teams are just going to kind of ride out that rookie deal, that 4 or 5 years where they can get them at a decent price and then just move on. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, they basically took that first round pick that they got and drafted a wide receiver that they had traded AJ Brown for. But I think just from, team building standpoint, how many teams are going to be able to afford that $25 million wideout when you got a $40 million quarterback and you got defensive players? I mean, something's got to give there. So I like it for the Eagles, I guess, but it's just a hell of a lot of money putting on, one guy, one wide receiver. I don't know.
Is there a chance that they actually go through that contract though? Because aren't all the deals massive deal? All right, 1 year in, we got to restructure or cut.
Well, but the problem though is that, so it's not a problem. It's just that these recent receiver deals have a lot of guaranteed money built in. So the answer is yes. Yeah, they're basically paying them 20. It's like 4 years, 100 million with like 70 million guaranteed, and it's like,
but is it 70 million against the cap guaranteed, or just 70 million overall? Because 70 million, I mean, no matter what, it's a lot. But if you're an owner and you're raking it in, you're like, just, we'll pay in bonuses, just don't hurt the cap because we want to be competitive.
Well, you're always, you can pay it. You can pay as much as you want up front in a signing bonus, but you're just carrying that cap over to following years. So that's what teams do is like, oh, you're 25 million a year, but the first year you count 1 million against the cap. And the second year you count 5 million against the cap. And then the third, fourth, fifth year, you count $1 billion towards the cap. And that's when they try to cut guys or whatever, because they're counting too much against the cap or whatever, but that's a tricky game because you're always just pushing it down the road. You're always just kind of pushing that money down the road. That's where the Saints
modeling the U.S. economy.
Basically, yeah. Speaking of modeling, I'm going to go off topic real quick. I saw your, what I think it was on IG or something. You did some sort of a car commercial or something. Is it almost like the Bachelor show where you're on these dates, you're kind of on a date, you're on like a fake date. They're taking pictures. You got, the vehicle next to you or whatever you're modeling. How do you ever just fall in love in one of these things, or do they fall, like, how does that work out? Cause it feels like you're on like it's like a Bachelor weekend, and then then you move on to the next one.
So yeah, you would think it would happen more than it does, but at least for me, it's only been me falling for the girl out on the resort ones. And then they're always unavailable. They're always like, oh, my husband, my boyfriend of 7 years. I'm like, oh, okay, well. So it's like the time, it could be the perfect timing, but just never has been. But sometimes you're in literally like the best jobs ever have been in a resort in the Caribbean or in Mexico or something where you're like, this is ideal. And yet it's just like, okay, I'm going to bed. It's 10 o'clock. I'm exhausted. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'll see you tomorrow, I guess. But anyway, yeah, maybe one day. Maybe
way to work it, Brad.
Yeah.
All right.
What else we got? Oh, here we go. What do you think of football, 2022 football, based on only one QB to chase?
Well, I think the bigger problem is that product is too expensive. So you have like overpriced new product mixed with not a great, I shouldn't say not a good draft class, because it could be a fantastic draft class for other positions, but nobody's buying offensive lineman rookie cards or D-line rookies or whatever.
And you're not going to chase a wide receiver. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm buying this box for the wide receiver. So, I mean, that's a good point. Like I was always wondering what are the prices going to be like on guys like Trevor Lawrence, where the season was really lousy for him. But if you don't really have QBs and, Jacksonville makes some moves, maybe, you take a chance on him. But that's a good point. Yeah. All right. What do you think do you think Fanatics acquires Panini this year? Do you think like they make a major move this year? Because that would affect a lot of product going forward. Like what percentage chance would you give to Fanatics buying or taking over Panini before December 31st? Percentage.
Yeah, I do think there's a good chance. And I know that they're probably like neither side is probably in a huge hurry, but Fanatics hasn't been shy about paying up. They really haven't. I mean, they've paid. It's not like they've, stolen these, these companies or these deals. I mean, they've made these massive deals, so they're obviously not shy about spending money. It wouldn't shock me at all, though, if they do work some sort of a deal with Panini, even if it's just kind of a segmented deal for like their North American business or like, certain parts of their business. I don't think they're trying to get their European soccer stickers business. I don't think they're worried about that. But yeah, I mean, if there's a way that they can kind of take over some of this stuff, yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely possible. I would say
a percentage.
Yeah, I'm going to be aggressive on it and say 75%.
Yeah, I was actually thinking quite high, and it's definitely subjective because I'd like to see it just happen if it's going to happen. I'm going to go this year, which is only we got 6 months left, 7 months left. I would say 55%. But I'd be totally happy about that.
Yeah, me too. And they can just kind of get rolling. I think the big question though is going to be, can they actually keep up with supply chain stuff? Because you have Panini that can't get product out. If we're talking about football, they're actually just releasing football cards, Trevor Lawrence rookie cards a year after he was drafted. If Fanatics takes it all over, does that improve overnight, or does Fanatics have the same sort of problems? I think that's kind of a huge question mark, because right now everybody's kind of looking at Fanatics as like, oh man, when they take over, everything's going to be great. It might not be. It might be the same sort of issues. We don't know. Yeah, they haven't. It's not like they automatically can solve all those things. Maybe they can. Maybe they can't. We'll find out.
Troy, they can't afford us. Actually, just kidding. Yeah, they can very easily. Very easily.
Brad, don't give it away. We're in deep negotiations for months with Fanatics. We've been going back and forth. The money is just not quite there yet, but we'll see. We're working towards it.
Here's a good question from Sammy. Is the Fed hike going to affect the card market? I feel like it has to in some regard. What's your take? You were the personal finance dad. So I'm
still am. Still am.
Put,
I've been
put
paying
that personal
very,
finance that hat on.
I've been paying very close attention to that. Well, what was funny is, so the rate hike happened, and then stocks shot up, and so did crypto, which doesn't make any sense. Usually, when you see that type of news, everything kind of falters. But it's going to take some time for that to play out, though. That rate hike, it's going to take month, 2 months, 3 months down the road when all that stuff starts to take effect. And so that's what I'll be watching, is just kind of over the next 30 to 90 days. What does stuff look like? Stock market, crypto, cards, all that stuff, paying very close attention to prices on it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it all goes to zero, but it's just one of those things where it's like, it has an inverse effect. When you get to positive interest rates, a positive interest rate environment, it has a negative effect on asset prices. It's just the way that the thing goes. And so it's just a matter of, the government's trying to toe the line. They're trying to cut off inflation because inflation is rising. At the same time, though, they don't want to spike interest rates too much to where the economy goes to crap. So it's a balancing act. So we'll see.
So no. So I mean, all right. Again, going back to the question, do you see it affecting it to the point where it's noticeable? Do you see what's happening? I mean, like if you're making a bold prediction.
To answer the question as far as like what I'm doing, I'm going to not buy cards. I'm going to not buy cards or very few cards right now. And I'm going to look at the end of June. There's a Raleigh card show. And then at the end of July is the National. I want to see what prices look like at the National. And I know that, look, I'm not thinking like, oh, it's going to be, down 80% at the National, but there's just so much supply at the National, so many different things. I want to see what it looks like there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, look, I think the one big theme with sports cards since getting back in is that there are a lot of different variables. There are a lot of different market factors. So this is one thing, but again, if let's say interest rates go up, but Fanatics makes a giant move to open up something massive overseas and buys Panini. It's like, that's not the only thing. And I think no matter what, I'm optimistic for the next 3 to 5 years, regardless of the US economy, because of who's taking over and their vision to expand in other arenas and internationally. So like worst case scenario, if the whole world goes through a recession, but now cards are in 150 countries instead of like really in 150 countries versus just really in 6, then it won't matter so much, or it'll balance out in a way. So
yeah, and so you make a really good point. There's macroeconomic things that don't look great, but as far as the hobby itself goes, there's really nothing but a lot of really good news. There's a lot of new business. There's a lot of new money coming in. There's a lot of good things going on. And so I'm a little bearish in the short run, but I'm bullish long term. And so that's but how this thing goes. We're all looking for buying opportunities, whether you're just collecting for PC or you're a investor or whatever you are, you're looking for good prices, so do I want to buy a card right now that might be a little bit less in 2 months? That's, what, or it could be more. It could be more in 2 months. You never know.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see. I mean, I guess, no matter what, it's a rising tide hobby, like a rising tide industry. But yeah, we got to pay attention to what we're doing and the whole state of the world right now. This is a good question from Jeff. Do you think the $600 sales tax limit hurt the hobby? I would say no. I would just say people had to buy and sell in person or other ways. I think it's just you're doing the math and you're like, okay, I'm doing the math. I would rather take less in person than be caught, with documented transactions and have to pay. But to me, that wouldn't be it wouldn't stop people from selling. I think that they would just have to get creative in terms of how they sell. Anything there?
Yeah, I don't really think so. I mean, that's not a new tax. It's like everyone had to pay capital gains on their stuff anyway. It's just that now the reporting is different. But I mean, yeah, I mean, and maybe that's why you're seeing more deals done at card shows, but that's just speculation. I don't know. Who knows?
Okay. Well, I mean, I think we can transition off of there. I think no matter who you are, just be aware of the situation in in the country and in the world in terms of economically, and how I'd say more importantly, how it may affect your career or housing, something that's big, that's close to you, so that you're not in a bind, because hopefully sports cards aren't the biggest expense or the biggest thing you have going for you. And hopefully this is just a smaller amount.
Well, and
Okay.
what I'll say lastly on that note, I
Mhm.
think that just the last kind of to put a bow on it, I think that if there's any hesitation to people investing period, whether it be stocks or crypto or cards or whatever, it's when we had negative GDP for the first time in a long time in Q1. And a recession is considered when we have 2 quarters in a row, then it's considered a recession. And what could come from recession, and you lived through it, 2009, there was a lot of job loss. So I think people are just going to be a little bit more hesitant just to see if, make sure their jobs are all good, and then they can, kind of keep on. And a lot of people are not worried about it. I've talked to a lot of people that are like, hey, I'm good. I'll be fine. But I think if there's any sort of hesitation, it's just that, hey, if we get into like a really, deep recession, or even a medium recession or whatever, I got to make sure that I've got an emergency fund or whatever in case, there's job changes. I think that's really the only kind of, the thing that's sticking out there.
Very nice.
Anyway.
Okay. Next one. Are you looking for anything specific at the National? I like how it's always targeting you. Like, I'm not going to be looking at anything, which the National is quite overwhelming. And the only cards that interest me right now are so rare and unique that I don't know if they will be around. But what would you be targeting in a couple months at the National?
Well, I think first and foremost, I would look at the National just has so much vintage, and that's something I'd like to beef up on in general. And it could be vintage baseball, basketball, football, any of those three. But I guess I would just want to see kind of where pricing looks. Vintage has been the one thing that's been kind of holding up, if not going up, which is kind of annoying for me because that's more of the stuff that I want to get, but I understand it. So I would look at that stuff first. But I'm open at the National. I try to have a little bit of a plan, but at the same time, just be open to what comes.
Gotcha. Very cool. And for me, I will say this. I'm looking at so many cards, and they all look the same at a certain point. So then when I do see a Mila Kunis, or I see something that's like Carvin's product, I go, wow, that stands out. That is like, wow, that is different. That's unique. Yeah. That's why I got to give credit to Flipping Steve for always buying cards that I didn't even know existed. But I remember back, and I'm going to show the screen on CompC. When I was on CompC earlier, I would find Steve Urkel cards and Simpson cards. I mean, I bought a South Park. Let me take a look here. I'll show you what I bought, just because, like, to me, it's this card I bought for $3. Hold on, I'll bring it up. But to me, I could look at this card and go, this is like a South Park rookie card. This is from 1998. It is like the promo card of South Park. And I'm like, I've spent at least 100, 200 hours watching this show, laughing my ass off because this show was so integral to my childhood. But a card like this, I could look at it and if I had this card autographed by, what's it, Trey Parker? Is that
those guys? Yeah, I know you're talking about.
I mean, this card, PSA 10, autographed by Trey Parker, the creator, to me, that would be a great overall card. Like, that would be not, I don't know about a Grail card, but to me, that would be great. I will show
one card, and one card that you've talked about before that I also want is those original Simpsons cards, but they're very expensive.
Oh, are you talking about the Art to Bart?
Yes, like the original art cards.
Let me see.
But they're
nothing Simpson in. Oh, I spelled it wrong.
They're so expensive.
Well, there's the cheap ones. There's like these ones, which I still love these. I mean, these are super cheap, but I mean, this is 1990. This is like year 2 or 3. I think it was 89.
Yeah, it's still like the old art and stuff, like the old
the old style. Yeah, but I mean, to me, okay, like I could look at that card, and this is a $15 card, right? Or it's a $16 card. And yeah, it's a PSA 8, which actually looks quite good for a card that old. But to me, even though it's not worth much, this would connect me to my childhood a lot more than a lot of the cards now. There was
Yeah, the
art to Bart.
Cards and Comics mentions it. The Simpsons sketch cards by Matt Groening. Those
Yeah,
are the
yeah,
ones.
it's art to Bart. So and this is the kind of stuff where I'm like, man, I wish there was more of this.
Yes.
I think there was one that went for
The thousands of dollars.
yeah, thousands for sure. In fact, there was one that was $5,000 when I made that video. There's one that was yeah. So I mean, this is limited to I think what 99 or no. Okay, there's 400 of them, 400. But this kind of stuff, what is this crap? Get off here.
I would
This kind of stuff to me,
that's so awesome.
like this. Come on, this was my Grail card. I go, this is Bart Simpson, hand drawn by the creator, limited to 400. As a Simpsons fan, that's all I'd want. However, I will show you something else that interests me that I checked out recently, and I think it's living here in LA and just being around the entertainment industry is these old Clint Eastwood cards. I was like, there's Clint Eastwood, there's James Dean. There's some cards that I go like, this is pretty cool. This is from the 50s. And even though it's really plain, how could that not be worth something when it's Clint Eastwood from the 1950s, who's a goat of Hollywood? There's also James Dean. There's Marilyn Monroe. Let me see, Marilyn.
Yeah, those old timey Hollywood people. That's I see where you're going with that.
You know what I'm saying? Well, it's like I've never watched a Marilyn Monroe movie. I don't watch old movies. I don't really care for them. But the fact that this is from whatever year and it's of an icon of Hollywood, to me, I think this is going to be the future. Not these cards specifically, but this type of stuff will get a lot bigger going forward. But who knows?
Yeah, it's kind of the golden era for Hollywood, going back.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw a question about, oh, go ahead.
Okay, no, go for it.
I saw one. Michael Stone had asked if I had picked which grading company I want to go with because I've just got a bunch of raw cards that I'm going to get graded this year, but I'm still trying to figure that out. I know that I've got a lot of auto cards that I'm going to send to SGC. So whether it's they're either football or Marvel. And so because they do if it's a good looking auto where I feel like I'm going to get a 10 auto grade from SGC, then I'll go ahead and send those off. But that I've also got a stack as well that'll eventually go to PSA. I assume that sometime later in the year, they'll come down to $25 or $30 or something to grade cards. And so I'll probably shoot some off to PSA as well. And then I don't know. I mean, maybe CSG, BGS is not out of the question, but it's but right now those are the two companies I think I'm leaning towards.
Let me ask you something. Where are you in the whole state of the hobby right now versus, let's say, the beginning of the year? Is there like a paradigm shift or anything that you're just feeling or sensing right now compared to January? Because I mean, we could, Fanatics taking over and da. There's a lot of news like that, but overall, has anything shifted for you?
Yeah, the paradigm shift for me has just been that I've never been one to buy raw to grade. And I know a lot of people like you, for example, you were buying certain cards where, you felt like you could grade it for $10 and turn a profit on it. Like a lot of people, and you did really well with that. I missed the boat on that. By the time I was actually like, you know what, I'll grade some cards. It was like PSA shutting down and, like everything was going to hell. So for me, what I've been doing since the beginning of the year and probably late last year as well, too, is I've been, not that I haven't been buying already graded cards, but I've been looking for high quality raw cards and not even necessarily like they're in amazing condition, but just they're scarce. I'm not even really worried about the condition. I'm more worried about, is it rare? Is it really rare? And do I think it has upside potential? And then just kind of looking at the downside of like, if I get this graded for $25 or $30, it'll give it some sort of a boost of value. Like what's my downside on these? And I'm not buying, hugely expensive stuff, but, I kind of live in that, $100, $200. I bought some raw cards that are $300, $400, but, so that's been kind of my shift is more of, okay, I think that buying raw to grade is coming back. I think that it's coming back. And so I want to make sure I've got some good raw cards. And so on the back half of the year, I'll probably buy less cards and grade a lot more because I've subbed once to SGC 10 cards, so, and I've probably got 100, 150 cards, that are ready to grade somewhere. So, That's kind of,
Gotcha.
I guess that's kind of for 2022. And then as far as buying new stuff, I'll go to the National, I'll go to Raleigh show, but I'm going to be picky and just kind of see what happens with pricing. So I want to grade. I've got a lot of good raw stuff that I want to get graded.
Gotcha. I got to sell my slabs, man. I even have my last PSA submission I haven't opened yet. The one that I was going to open with you at Mint Collective, it's still in my closet. I was like, I just need to move them so I can free up some money to reinvest, because I don't like buying more when I have so much just sitting there, and my laziness on selling, because I hate listing, I hate shipping, I hate that whole process. It is just like making me delay it over and over again. So I was actually talking to Chris Rip and Wax about just sending them all to him so he could sell on Whatnot the way he normally does. Because I'm like, I don't know if anyone would buy the entire lot, and I don't want to list these individually for like $14, $27, $59, all of that. To me, that just sounds horrible. I could always do a reveal, because then you would see I might have to censor it though. There might be too many F-bombs. YouTube might kick me off in the middle of it. Yeah. And now, see, I keep the PSA 2s because the value in a grade as low as a 2 is that it's so funny that every time I look at it, I can laugh. If it's a 7, you're just like, ugh. But a 2 is just like, how in the world do you send a card in and get a 2? So,
unless it's from 1910, or something.
Yeah, well, in which case you expect it to.
Right.
All right, let's see. You know what? I've thought of it earlier on, and I'm not opposed. I think it's just I would want to do it with you. Like if it was with me and Dustin, I think for sure I would not want to do it by myself, to be honest. To me, it just sounds a bit like, how many bathroom breaks I need anyway. Like it's every 45 minutes I need to run to the restroom. So I need someone like Dustin.
Yeah, you just need someone to help cover him. That's really it. Yeah.
And so, I mean, what I would do is I'd set up with Dustin. I'd be like, okay, man, here it is. I got the prices here. I'll see you in 3 hours. Make me a lot of money. See you in 3 hours.
Yeah, actually, that would be fun if we could get maybe my oldest can be cameraman, and my oldest son can maybe do some video of something like that. That would be fun.
Are you going to set up?
No, I don't have any plans to set up. Honestly, like I have so much stuff that I just want to hold on to. I'm not really doing. Not to say that I wouldn't like to buy some stuff to maybe flip over and into some other things, but I've just been more focused on stuff that I feel like has got long-term potential. And so I'm just doing that. That's it. And also the selling I've been doing is just smaller stuff that I bought a year and a half ago that I just don't care about anymore. It's like random $3 cards, $5 cards, and just selling off those things because they're just taking up space. They don't serve me. And it's like, I could be using that, to buy other stuff. That's it.
For sure. And Brian, you get to know people at the show. It's fun networking. Yeah, but that's why I go around. I could network standing still, but if you saw my last video,
Brad's always on the move. That's his issue in life in general. He can never work like an office job. Nothing wrong with that. But he could not sit at a card show for 8 hours at a table.
Honestly, no. I hate being indoors. Like what's funny is that
Brad will be like the guy that's bringing like refreshments, but instead of refreshments around, it's cards. He's selling like slabs, and he's like carrying it around like Kyler Murray,
like the beer guy, the beer guy with it around my neck. Get your junk slab here, junk slab, $10 junk slab. That'd be me. But
that would, if you could get the promoters or the show people to allow you to do that, you'd probably do really well.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, here's the thing. Y'all probably don't know this, but for a couple of years leading up until COVID, I had a pretty sweet part-time gig going around to the different auto shows representing Genesis, which is the luxury line of Hyundai. They would give us these nice suits. It was very easy work. We would stand there at the auto show, which goes on in 50 different cities in the US. And we would stand there for 6 hours and just answer pretty much 10 different questions. And it was miserable. The benefits were great. The pay was surprisingly really good. The clothes, all that stuff, the team was great. But I was like, get me outdoors. So that's why I have this amazing tan, because I can't stand being inside. And even when we have our discussion, I'm like, all right, Dustin, the live stream's over. If you want to keep chatting, let me go walk outside, or I need some air because I can't be here. So I worked. Well, I worked at Bank of America in college, and that job taught me to never have a job like that ever. It was so miserable looking outside of a window at a gorgeous day, only to know that I had to be indoors with papers and nothing fun, just giving people their receipts as I saw a beautiful day outside and I couldn't participate. So don't want to talk too much about that, but that's pretty much where I'm at. All right. So let's see. Anything else on your end? Anything you're excited about this upcoming week? By upcoming week, I guess we still have the rest of this week.
Yeah, we've got some plans this weekend. My mom is coming into town, so we've got my mom coming into town.
Hold on, we can stop stalling. Hey, look who decided to join us!
I was told 8:50. Is this wrong? I just started getting messages.
8:50, Dustin.
Yeah, 8:50 Eastern. It's 9:50.
Dude, I asked you Central. Who uses Eastern time? This is ridiculous.
Only the world.
No, I guarantee this is my fault. I'm sorry.
All right, Mike, I think I have your number. We're not going to have Dustin get in the middle of this anymore, screwing it up with his crazy.
If you can join at 8:50 to 8:55 EST, that would be great.
Ooh.
I'd like to apologize to the group.
There may have been a booger on the screen turning the E into a P.
Dang it, man! I was just live. I was just live yapping like an idiot on Facebook too. I was like, it's 8:50. I gotta go. I don't want to be late.
You should see the beginning of this. We're like, I'm like, all right, Dustin, I don't know if our guest is going to show up. And then Dustin's internet froze for the first 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm like, so how about playoff hockey? Anyone?
Oh,
so
God.
Anyway.
Brad was drowning. That's right. We'll go a little bit. You know what? We'll go a little bit over. And, we need to talk about what you got going on, Mike. You got some.
How can I make this up to you guys?
I mean, you can give us a lot of money. I'd take money.
Hey, put the live on or not the live. Promote us on the Sports Card Nonsense Facebook group with the 10 million people on there.
Done.
All right,
absolutely done.
And a public apology.
I'm so sorry.
I want a public apology bigger than Will Smith's apology.
The fraudulent. I'm kind of sorry, but I'm not sorry because God told me to do it. I can outdo that apology. I guarantee it. Yep.
Perfect. I'll take it. All right. Well, look, our viewership actually went up since you hopped on. So let's milk that for all it's worth. For one, what's up with you, man? I saw you at the Super Bowl. That was great. I saw you at Mint. It looked like things were going well. Also, I got to say hi to Jesse, who it looks like we never invite Jesse on, but definitely want to have Jesse back on. Very cool dude as well. I just know that you have something that you're working on that you'd love to share with us, and something that we're pretty excited about as well.
Jesse would have shown up at 8:50 Eastern. I'll tell you right now. Jesse would have been here. This would not have happened.
I'll reach out to Jesse directly next time.
Yeah. So, we launched the app hit the App Store today. It's called Card Shop Live, live streaming, live selling app. We're hoping you guys can get on there and do some content there for us too. The marketing team is very enamored with the DB brand. BDDB. Not sure the initials. We're working on it.
Not VD.
It's okay.
No. So
okay,
no V. No V at all.
Good.
We talked to Tamara. We got it cooking. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Good lady.
Yeah, she's so it's a live selling platform. It's similar to a Whatnot to a Loop, but with a lot different and, in my opinion, better features. Look at this. I forgot Brad's the graphics man. He's ready to roll.
Oh man, share screen. I'm on it.
Sure.
So tell us what is this exactly for anyone that's like, what is this company? What's this app? Why is it different than anything else that I'm using now?
Yeah. So again, it is very, just to be totally plain and honest, it is similar to a Whatnot, a Loop, a Drip, all these other ones that are out there right now where you go and it's live selling. It's just the difference is really first and foremost the fact that it's built by people in the industry. It's like any other business I've had that I've built in the hobby. It's spite. Like I just get sick of people who don't know anything about the hobby coming in and making a ton of money and putting out a product that is wildly financially successful, but I feel like leaves a lot to be desired for collectors. So a couple of the main features just to run through super fast because I've already wasted 55 minutes of your time. For example, all videos are saved and stored after the fact. Almost every seller has 2 camera angles, so product is never off the table. You've got live chat. All the video is 1080 HD. The other thing that's awesome is instead of waiting for a break to fill live, where people are trying to auction 32 teams in the NFL or 30 teams in MLB, you just post breaks like you would on a website, and you get a push notification. You click it, you go into the store. If you're following the person, buy your team. By the time they go live, the break is full. They're ready to go. The other big side is then just live auctioning of packs, singles, boxes, all that stuff. And then we're just going to try to mix in content, which is tough. Like you guys know, that content is tough to make in the space. So we're going to
actually right now it's quite easy. We just BS for about an hour and wait for you to hop on.
Yeah.
The real content is tough. Yeah.
I can't tell if Brad's mad. He's got the Hollywood smile, so I'm like, I don't know if he's actually angry. You can't tell.
Hate you, Mike.
Oh, he's absolutely
See?
furious. This is Brad furious. No,
I'm telling you,
he's good. He's good.
I'm very nervous.
I had an edible, so I'm good.
So how was the launch? Were there any hiccups? Did it go off without a hitch? Were you like, guys, what the hell's going on? How did it go?
So we've been in beta for like the last Ziggy. No, that's the first time he said something nice to me. Screenshot that. Do your screen share right now. So we've been in beta for almost a month. So we had just like a few hundred people from our break group. And
you blinked 3 times.
I know. I'm not good with numbers, as the time indicates. Yeah, we had bugs every week. Video outages, video issues, payment issues. Yeah, you name it, we had issues. That's why it took us 2-3 months to get to the actual release. But now it seems like things are running smooth. Now we're stepping up the number of sellers we're allowing, and we're stepping up the number of hopefully adding a bunch of buyers while not crashing the servers. So I don't know what servers are, but you need to have enough servers to support people.
They work at restaurants.
That's what
you
I
need
thought.
them. They're important. So, all right, this is like a loop, like a whatnot, but designed by people in the hobby that care about the hobby versus just the bottom line.
But also verified. It sounded to me like verified sellers too, though. Not just anybody gets on and selling.
Correct. Yeah, we're super tight with who we're letting on to sell. You can make more money just letting everybody and their mother sell, but then you get hundreds, if not thousands, of complaints of people getting stiffed, not getting their product. Hey, I bought a box and it wasn't sealed. I just wanted to avoid all that garbage. So we want to be wildly successful and make a ton of money, but we want to do it. We do just to be, use that stupid hokey line. We want to do it the right way with people who have good communities, people who have already built up their community. Then bring them over. Excuse me.
Well, I mean,
Tom Brady signed that helmet behind you, that old school Patriots helmet.
Pat the Patriot. That's my Tommy helmet. Yep.
That's a badass helmet. I love the old helmets.
Very, that was my favorite for sure. Pat the Patriot and the red jersey I've always liked, but I don't have one.
One thing that's interesting is the vetted seller thing reminds me of MySlabs, which we've been sponsored by MySlabs for a couple months, and I got approved from them earlier on, and like months and months ago. But I was like, this is kind of cool when I don't have to concern myself with a transaction nearly as much. And knock on wood, every transaction, I think I have like 26 sales or something like that on MySlabs, and not one issue. It takes an extra, barrier of entry, some extra work, some extra, like a process for people to get past that threshold. And some people have complained about it. At the same time, if you're on the other end, when you're in, it really is kind of like an exhale, knowing that I don't have to have the video footage and kind of mentally and emotionally prepare for hey, my son bid on it, and it wasn't me, and I'm gonna hit him with a stick, and don't worry, I'm gonna punish him real good, but it wasn't me, so please cancel the transaction.
Right.
I've never had anything like that. So there is something to a vetted system, and the more vetted buyers and sellers you have, the better feedback and the better overall experience you'll have as well. So kudos to you for that.
Yeah, and to that point, by the way, I would say this is the most unoriginal idea ever. We literally just tried to steal the best of the best around. Like MySlabs is a great example. I know Matt and I know Dio over there. You never see guys have an issue on MySlabs, and when they do, immediately it's made right, and the guy gets thrown off the platform. I love that. That's the only. So in terms of accountability, verified sellers, the vetting system, MySlabs is the best in the business. Period. We want to match that But that was like, hey, what can we take from My Slabs, because they're a wildly successful platform. That's what they do right. I love that. They also have low fees, which I think is awesome. So we're a big fan. We try to keep our fees super low. Whatnot is just crazy with the exposure. They've blitzed it, and that's what we're planning on doing too. Pokemon, again, singles, sports cards, non-sports cards, comics, all of that stuff, memorabilia. Let's take that part from Whatnot. Loop is built a little bit more towards breakers, but not as much as this is. So it was really just a matter of not stealing an idea, stealing everybody's ideas a little bit and just shoving them in a blender and then showing up late to a show to talk about it.
Well, you were working very hard for the first 55 minutes, ensuring the app works properly. So at least that's where your efforts were going.
Telling you, not easy.
Well, all right. I'm curious because, look, I don't know if I told you. I don't know. Yeah, I think I told you at Mint, but I launched a community, Card Life, and it's for the content creator. It's for the entrepreneur. It's for people in the hobby that want to build something in the hobby, but also people that are looking to connect with other collectors, to lose weight, to share their business, whether they're a freelancer, a graphic designer, just so that we know, hey, this guy's a lawyer in Orlando, this guy's a realtor in Sacramento. Might as well give him a shot or see if he's credible, because I'd rather help someone else in the hobby out. So it's a business directory, and it's something I'm very passionate about, and obviously would love to support your app on as well, because there's a lot of great ideas, but people need help. Like, this is starting a business, starting anything is very overwhelming. So what has the journey of going from your breaking business and a podcaster and a personality to a bona fide entrepreneur like this been? What's been like the biggest takeaway for you as you build this?
There's a couple just like in general lessons for me. Like one thing I've tried to do, everybody has these useless hokey sayings. That's fine. I have a few myself. Like my one thing is I always, and it's not hard to do, I always want to be the dumbest person in the room. Like the team that's on here.
Dustin is competing hard. Dustin is really competing for that.
No, but like our CTO, wildly successful guy, owns his own company, unbelievably successful. Our CEO, same thing, corporate world, background, super smart. You guys spoke to Tamara. Tamara can talk marketing, and I would be confused in 5 minutes because it's not my world.
Brad was very confused during that conversation.
I'm still confused. I don't even know what CMO means.
I was like, Brad, can you just jump off and I'll just handle the rest.
Hard making apparatus.
It's Latin.
You want us to talk to your cameras? Damn it, forget it.
Why is the light red? What's that red light mean?
Not CST. Same thing. The CFO could talk numbers and is super smart people. I don't have the skill or talent to do that stuff. So that was one thing, like going forward with this, because it wasn't it's not like it was a $20,000 project. Like it's a 7-figure build that's going to just keep getting more and more expensive. That's not something I'm willing to take a loss on. Like this had to be done right. And we're trying to do it, right every step of the way. That's been a big thing. The other thing, like I learned it with breaking and with podcasting. Like I only, at this point, and again, I'm kind of spoiled where I'm at in life. I just want to do things I'm passionate about. And this is a passion of mine. Like I want to be the best marketplace out there that has 1 million features and crushes everybody else. It's not going to happen, but in my head, that's what our goal is. And so then it was just kind of, the other thing I've always done with all these businesses is just kind of finding that number in my head. And it's not a monetary number, but it's more, how much time can I devote to this and take away from other things? Because time's got to come from somewhere. Mm-hmm. I've got a wife, I've got a family, I've got, other very important things in my life. How long can I really put this at the front line of all of that stuff and push it? And so, yeah, it's like anything else. Brad, it's the same thing with what you're doing, man. Like you put time and passion into something, man. It takes time, energy, ups and downs, all that crap. So
yeah, and one thing on that is and Card Life, it's just cardlife.org, and it's a community built on Mighty Networks, which crushes anything else I've ever seen. And it's comprehensive. Everyone could have a bio, links to your Instagram, website, anywhere else. But it's the one thing I said, this is so good. It's not a Discord or any of that. Like I can't stand that. This is such a good system that I said, I want the hobby to have a directory and a community where events can be thrown, workshops can be held. Donnie B, we're working on a Donnie workshop for Donnie B, the artist, the card artist, so he can show others how to create card artwork the way he does. And then money from that goes to a charity of his choice because he's 6 years sober. So I'm thinking
Oh, nice.
This could be a massive thing long term. But when you're passionate about it, it's not like 6 months, I'll give it and then I'll quit. It's pretty much, all right, 5 years from now, if I can do this for 5 years, am I willing to do it? And so that's where, if you're so passionate about it that you can't stop thinking about it, then you're onto something good because you're willing to put in the work for years and years, not just a couple of weeks or a couple of months.
For sure.
That's what it sounds like for you as well.
Yeah, same thing. And we're at the point now too where, these people on the team are all making the salaries that they've left behind is stuff we can't go anywhere near touching. Like we couldn't afford any of these people, but they've come over because they have the same passion. So we gave equity to people. But here's my boy Ben. What up, Benny? Look at Ben looking true. Ben is, just to be clear, Ben has never looked that clean cut in person. I've met Ben a number of times. Always wears a hoodie with a shaggy beard. I don't know who this person is in the profile picture here.
That's why we do headshots.
False
man.
Advertising.
And it's Brandon. It's not a cult. It's just a community. We don't have special sayings just yet. The Bible doesn't drop until I think it's Q3. That's when my Bible will drop, and I'll send it out.
Brad hasn't gotten it to the point where he can call it a cult. That's a goal, though. That's a goal. We're trying to get
a dream big.
You got to have goals, man.
Got to dream big.
Dustin, have you ever been passionate about something?
Well, in general,
retro game. Your retro game.
My retro game dad. Yeah, I love that channel. I just don't have time for it, man. I've got 4 kids. You guys don't have any kids. Well, Brad's got kids. He just doesn't know where they are. Mike
That's the best move I ever made. I got freedom. That's why I have this tan.
Absentee father. Best career choice he's ever had.
So no, Brad's like, hey, look, I'm not there for them, and they have to learn the hard way, and it just makes them better, makes them stronger.
So here's the thing. I would be spoiling my kids by giving them love and affection. So I want them to have a chip on their shoulder so they'd have some crazy work ethic and have something to prove to the world. So kids out there, you're welcome.
You have to neglect them to love them. I understand. Makes sense.
Tricky balance. That's a tough balance. But
what are you guys up to, by the way? I have not talked to you guys since Mint, which is over a month ago.
Dustin, what are you managing your 4 kids, your station?
Changed his name officially, by the way.
Jim Tan Laundry. It's the usual
GTL. Sure. Yep.
Well, actually, we do have something. So tomorrow we did have our first test episode of Sports Cards Now. I was like thinking because we were going back and forth between a few names, and that was at SoFi Stadium. So I shot that.
Oh, nice.
So that the test episode is done. We got to get the branding, and we got to do another test episode. So fingers crossed that it'll be first episode out in a month's time. Hopefully.
Is this with the guy I met?
Yeah, this is with him. So he finally got the suite. It's a beautiful suite at SoFi. Now we just got to do the other 99% of work with anything that you're launching. So
very cool.
Excited about it, though.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Very nice.
And for some reason, I decided to give Dustin equity. I was like,
because Dustin, you need to have your partner, your life partner.
Yeah, you asked what I'm passionate about. I'm very passionate about that project in particular.
Because that's 20% equity for a couple hours a week. But to be fair,
what are you talking about? I put 60, 70 hours in to get all that stuff put together.
That's right.
Yeah, like total. But anyway, no, I actually said, I want to do this with Dustin because not only does he bring something to the table, but just like launching any business or setting up at a show, which I was talking about earlier, I'd want to do it with people I like because I got into the hobby for connection. Like if there's one word to describe why I'm here, it's connection to other people, connection to my childhood. But I would not be happy in this hobby if I was alone because I'm trying to get away from it. Like this is the bridge to other people and other opportunities. So that's why I was like, Dustin, I'd like for you to be involved. This is a role that we need and I don't want to do myself. And so it works out. So now we can discuss it. We're having weekly calls and hopefully it'll be launched in 3 to 4 weeks time.
Well, if I can do anything to help, man, tell me. Yeah, we're happy to pump it up in the Facebook group or whatever. Yeah, anything you need, tell me. You guys have been super gracious with me, so happy to help out.
Well, I'm actually glad that you were 55 minutes late because now we have leverage. Now we expect favors from you.
Of course. Yep.
Yes, leverage.
What do you got, Mike? Do you already have your national plans worked out, or are you still taking it one day at a time with all that? I mean, you're going, right? I assume you're going.
Yeah. So it's weird. Some of the stuff is kind of like these I don't know, like NDA type things. Like, so I can tell you one thing though, we're having a huge event Friday night that we'll hopefully be announcing very soon. That's more of like the podcast and some other partners who are quite a bit bigger than us. Huge event Friday night. We'll have some table space. I think we're gonna have just a couple instead of like the 3-table booths. I think we're just gonna have 3 or 4 tables total, but kind of spread out throughout the place because we couldn't actually lock down a booth. Simmons is actually making the trip, so Bill's going to be there. So I'm hoping we can do some sort of box battle, whatever, on stage at the National, and then get some content with him. And then I actually, every year at the National, I try to find like 1 or 2 pieces that I probably won't find anywhere else and buy them, like PC stuff. So, but yeah, we'll be there. I think I get in Wednesday night late. So, yep. You guys
Nice.
both going, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I still got to get my ticket, but I'll have to be there for sure. I mean,
Nice.
the best. Here's the thing, and I told Dustin about this with Industry Summit. I told him about it with Mint Collective, which he did go. It is a must if you are an entrepreneur or a content creator. If you're in the hobby, I mean, it's great as a collector to make these shows, but I understand it's not realistic for a lot of people. But if you are on the business or media side, you got to go to these events because that's where a lot of the face-to-face meetings happen. Like next week we have Tim Getch. Is that how you pronounce it? From CompC, CEO
sure. Tim Getch.
Oh,
Tim Getch,
nice.
who
Yep.
we met randomly at Mint Collective. And so these shows, even if you don't have a big budget for cards or you don't think you're going to be buying much or selling much, you got to be going for meeting people, shaking hands, and then just getting the ball rolling with whatever relationships if you are pursuing a business or a brand.
I agree. I'll be honest, that's why I was so impressed by the Mint Collective, because it was a very subpar card show. But in terms of
Right.
networking and actual connections, it was by far the most beneficial. Like, not even close.
And you had such
efficient.
access. When we're all at the National, like in reality, we might bump into each other, but we're not going to do a lot of hanging out because everyone's got a million things going on. It's going to be busy. But at the Mint, you actually have time. It's not gigantic like that. You know, you can actually meet with people.
Yeah, I loved it for that. I hope that's something they continue for sure. Because for that angle, I thought it was awesome.
Likewise. Well, guys, it's 7:12, not too late, but I really want you out there to at least take a look at the Card Shop app. It is the Card Shop on the App Store, correct?
Card Shop Live.
Card Shop Live
on the App Store.
I saw somebody ask too, is it available for Android as well?
Yeah, it's in the what is it, Google for Android? Whatever, it's in that app store. Whatever you call the app store for people who are ridiculous with their Android crap.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just get Apple. What are we doing here?
Bobbles and Ball Card says there might be some
quite a few typos and misspelled words. That sounds about right. Thank you.
I think it's part of the personality. I think that's part of the charm.
Yeah, Mike wrote that up himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say anything like that, I guarantee I'm responsible for.
And then, so is there any other directions? Just go there. Is there looking for feedback? Is it just looking for usership? Anything that we can help support you on regarding this launch?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, download the app, leave a 5-star review. This is going to be the big push this weekend. So we're giving away a box of NT football. We're giving away a box of Immaculate football. We've got 4 or 5 boxes of Panini One football, Phoenix football boxes. We've got a couple cases of baseball, Topps Chrome Black. So yeah, it's not a Lamborghini. We're not doing the whatnot thing. We wish we were. But yeah, I would say $20,000 to $30,000 worth of stuff this weekend for the kind of like this is what we're calling the soft launch, I guess. But yeah, there'll be a ton of giveaways. So just follow the sellers, and all you do is follow. You don't have to buy anything, but as long as you're following the seller, then we're just basically capturing all the emails that follow you, and each room we're providing giveaways for will then just run that list and give stuff away.
So if there's a time to sign up, if you're like, oh, okay, I'll get to it at some point, this would be the time to just sign up, because the upside is that you could actually win one of the boxes or one of the spots, I guess, a spot in one of the boxes, correct?
Yeah, I mean, this would be the time, because Friday night and Saturday night are the 2 big giveaway nights. And then we're also starting to introduce, we actually finally locked down a nice deal with Panini. So Panini is providing NFT packs, which I know some people hate. I mess with them, but not a ton. But we're doing a digital and physical combination breaks. So like we're doing on Friday night, me and Jesse are breaking a box of Encase football, which is like $1,000, and then 10 Prism Panini NFL NFT packs. So 10 digital packs, 1 physical box, and then it's just a random teams break. But like stuff like that to kind of get the market used to buying into the digital, we're doing it like, I think it's $15 a spot. So the spot price total comes up to $500, and you're getting $1,200 worth of value. So yeah, we're trying to mix that, and we're doing a big UFC event. We're gonna have Cage Lawyer from Luca Tiger Braun. Cage will be on there with one of our guys Saturday night live during the fights. He's got a box of Prism UFC hobby to give away and UFC packs and all that stuff. So this will be the weekend.
Is the name Cage his actual name? Because I've seen it, or is it like a UFC reference?
I am so sick of him. I don't know what his deal is. Cage. He's an important person. He doesn't have a real name. I don't know what this thing is.
There was a kid in my high school. His name was Jet Steele. I'm like, man, that's pretty freaking cool.
He now works in the adult film industry.
Yeah. I was like, I mean, or Top Gun. Like, I mean,
that's right. He replaced Goose after he broke his neck because Maverick got a little cocky. Poor Meg Ryan.
Which, I am looking forward to the newest Top Gun movie, which will be out in the summer.
Finally.
I don't think it'll be as good, but if it's a third as good, it'll still be great.
Are they sponsoring the show? Why are you talking about that, Brad?
Dude, how do you not Top Gun?
Yeah,
I mean,
come on.
Sponsored by Top Gun.
You guys have Top Gun on here? What?
I mean, I would like
next week it's Tom Cruise.
We'll do it for free. We'll sponsor you for free. Just don't be mad at us when we promote your movie, because
is Val Kilmer coming on here? Val Kilmer, is he next?
Oh man, I'd love to have Val on.
Amazing.
Oh,
anyway,
God.
All right, man. Well, Mike, we appreciate you hopping on at the end, saving the day. Appreciate all the leverage we have now that you were 55 minutes late, and you can't live with yourself without really owing us so many favors, because
we're calling in favors starting tomorrow.
Yeah,
please do.
And it's
well deserved.
Long line of
hey, the Facebook group, and we'll promote the crap out of the new podcast, the YouTube channel. Please message me tomorrow, the links and everything, so I can do that, because I owe you that for screwing up tonight. My apologies, guys.
Absolutely. And guys, if you're out there, for one, sign up for the Card Shop Live. Just do it this weekend. Just do it now so that you'll be ready for this weekend. Just do it now, because you're going to do it at some point. Two, always remember that if you want leverage on someone, make sure that you screw up the time zone or make it very confusing. Maybe you have one PST, one EST, or you just kind of mix it up in there so that they mess up, make it look like it's their fault, and then you can leverage them.
EST question mark. Throw that in there.
Yeah, that's it.
It was so clear. Just said jump on 850 to 855 EST. There wasn't. I can't even say. It wasn't even like there was something confusing. I'm just stupid.
I'm making a reaction video tonight about the whole thing. It's coming out tomorrow.
Dustin's putting out a hit piece on the app just because of my appearance here.
Next time it's going to be 3 a.m. Zimbabwe time, and then you're going to have to do the math.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Wait, where is that? Yeah.
Zimbabwe's real? Wait a minute. Country start with Z?
No. You'll say, what's the one for Black Panther? What's the country there?
Oh, Wakanda. Wakanda forever, of course.
Wakanda time.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm excited about Wakanda. I'm going.
Awesome. Mike, appreciate you. Dustin, of course, always a pleasure. And everyone in the chat, thanks so much for sticking around. And please download the app, and we'll see you next week.